everyone, and welcome to another monthly read. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've read quite a lot of books in that time. So just to kind of summarise some of the books I've been reading, I read Howl's Moving Castle for the first time. I've seen the Ghibli movie and I've always wanted to read the book that it was based on, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was quite different, so yeah, if you enjoy the film, I really would suggest reading that book. Also, I read The Fall of Numenor, which, you know, I love my Tolkien stuff, and that was just great. You know, I just love reading all the extended lore and things like that, so that was definitely a must on my to-be-read list. I also read Wolf Children as well. That was a quite little nice short read, you know, just something fun for me to just like take to work with me, to just read in my lunch hour, so that was nice. And then I did some really heavy reading and I read Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, translated by Tolkien, so yeah, with essays. So that is a really beautiful collector's edition that I have of that, and it was a really good read, but it was quite heavy going and it did take me a while to get through. So I thought I would show you some footage of the two collector's editions that I read. This is the collector's edition of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and it's very similar to a lot of the other Tolkien collector's editions that I have. It comes in a nice hard slipcase, but this one has a little bit of detailing and design on the outside of it, which I thought was really nice. The other book that I got that was a special edition was the Folio Society edition of Howl's Moving Castle, and this was absolutely lovely. It has this nice designed outside hard slipcase, and then on the inside it has all these lovely images and illustrations which are absolutely gorgeous. But the most recent book that I have read is this, A Day of Fallen Knights. So last year I read The Priory of the Orange Tree and I absolutely loved it. Thought it was an amazing book, and I literally got through it really quickly, just like constantly reading it for hours on end. So I just had to get the sequel when it came out. So this I actually have the hardback of. The Priory of the Orange Tree I have the paperback of. But this I got it when it came out, as soon as it came out, and yeah, I didn't read it for a while because I was like busy reading other stuff, rehearsing for a show, and just everything's been so busy, so I didn't get around to reading it until this month. But yeah, I have this really nice sprayed edge version that is signed, and I got this from Forbidden Planet. As you can see, it's got the Forbidden Planet sticker on. So yeah, what did I think of this? Well, I enjoyed it. I really did. I think in some ways I actually kind of, although overall I enjoyed the plot more to Priory of the Orange Tree, I think I actually preferred some of the characters in this, and I actually really liked some of their development more than the character development of some of the characters in Priory of the Orange Tree. So that's like the first thing, like character development. I think plot-wise, obviously I kind of had a rough idea where it was going, because being a prequel, that's always the issue. You kind of know who's gonna kind of live and die whenever you're reading a prequel, so there is a little bit of the suspense taken out of it, but it is quite fun, still a really fun read, and there's still moments where you're like, ooh, what's going to happen? because we aren't given too much information in Priory of the Orange Tree about this time and how things play out. I did find myself keep going back to Priory of the Orange Tree and just like looking at the back at like character descriptions, like who is this person, how are they related to this person, and yeah, that was quite funny. Overall, it's not as daunting as it looks, you know. It's big, but a lot of it is just like allowing you to connect with the characters, learning about them and their experiences. And also, as well, one thing I enjoy about Samantha Shannon's books, this and Priory, is that things seem to happen at a nice pace. It's not like suddenly rush, everything's happening. Like, there is time, you know, weeks pass when nothing's really going on, you're getting just these mundane things, but she also shows that as well, like shows people getting on edge because nothing's happening. And it's nice to see that in a fantasy novel, because a lot of fantasy novels tend to be very fast paced, everything's suddenly happening really quickly, whereas with this it's sort of like things happen really quickly, then there's periods of nothing happening, then things happen really quickly again, then there's periods of nothing happening. And I think that's nice, you know, it's nice to have that varied pace that gives it a very sort of natural feel to it. So I enjoyed that. I also enjoy the fact that we get different characters' perspectives. I love that in fantasy novels. Like, I like to see the story from different characters' perspectives. I like to get those little bits of information that those other characters need, and you're just sort of sitting there because you know, and you want them to know that they haven't crossed paths with this other character yet, so they can't find out that piece of information. And I love that. Like, this and Priory is just so full of all those little things where other characters that you're following know the information that one specific character needs, and it's just, that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I think that's what helps create the pace as well in those moments where not much is happening, is because you're waiting for these characters to cross paths. What's going to happen to cause this character to come into contact with this other character? And I really enjoy that in fantasy novels like this. And I think as well what's good is that the characters are kept to a nice amount. So some fantasy novels just have so many different characters, and you're constantly following like 5, 6, 7 different characters that are all doing completely different things. I like the fact that it keeps it to about 4 or 5 characters that tell the story, and they're not always used. It's not like we don't have to constantly keep going back to a character if nothing is happening with that character, and that's helpful for the pace, because obviously if you're just sitting with a character who is having absolutely nothing happen, not even any sort of anxiety at nothing happening, then that really doesn't make a very good pace. I think it's nice to read a very sort of heavily female-led fantasy like this. A lot of these types of fantasies that I read, they have very good female characters in them, but they are very sort of male-dominated, and so it's nice when you get these heavily female-dominated novels. And also as well, there's lots of sort of like little details about this world and how progressive in some ways this world is, but they're not sort of like rammed down your throat. So I feel like this is a very accessible read for anybody. Again, it's all about sort of questioning faith and things like that. If you haven't read Priory, that is the main thing. It's about coming to terms with how your faith might not match up with what's really going on in the world, and how you have to question things and not just blindly follow, you know, and believe things at face value. As I said, being a prequel, A Day of Fallen Night isn't actually the most probably exciting fantasy novel, as you know where things are going, but it is nice to get into the psyche of some of the characters and to learn more about them and to understand where they come from and to get a greater depth of understanding of the world. And it was nice to see some little Easter eggs that lead us back to Priory and just little mentions of things. I'm not sure if I want another novel set in this world. I mean, I'm enjoying it, and I really do want to know more about Canthe, or Calibur's character, as she's so fascinating. But I'm not 100% sure I want another book, because I feel like we're just gonna end up going back round in circles again. I might reread Priory actually. Like, I really feel like rereading it at the moment after just reading this, and see if I can pick out any more information that I kind of overlooked on my first read, and whether, having read this, I'll suddenly see things and go, oh, because, like, you know, that always happens when you reread after reading something else. You suddenly find that you're spotting so many other little bits of information. So yeah, definitely would suggest reading both of those books, and hopefully you enjoy them. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this monthly reads, and I should be doing these more regularly again, hopefully. I keep saying that, but who knows. So thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of, you know, The Priory of the Orange Tree, or, you know, A Day of Fallen Night, or even Rose of Versailles. And yeah, I shall see you in the next one. Bye!